Yep, I got it. I got some more. Some more content for y'all. I'm gonna play a little bit of this video here of and he's still live now, but I'm gonna play it from the beginning. See what he says about this supposedly news story here. I was gonna call it news by the numbers, but I'm not gonna be using any numerology per se in this video. That's gonna be another one. But this is the false flag shit that I'm talking about. You know what I mean? This is more news, more fake news, basically. Yeah. But the numerology I will use is that race war has a gematria of 33. Masonry has a gematria of 33. The Masons, Freemasons, they control your news media. They control all of your institutions. They even purposely mistranslated the Bible to suit their own agenda. So this story right here, and keep the term race war in your mind, because this is definitely being set up to start a race war when we have been in the spiritual war for thousands of years. Here we go. Give this brother a like.
Yes. Good morning. I said, good morning, everybody. Fight the power. Fight the power on one hand. Grand scheme, people being used as pawns on the other hand. Fight the power on one hand. Grand scheme of things, people being used as pawns on the other hand. Good morning, everybody. This is Marwan here at Mind Over Matter TV, and we be confronting some very, very confusing moments, very emotional periods of time, different times during the day where you might be all up in arms, where you might be depressed, you might be too scared to be a black man, you might be sad, you might be hurt, you might be traumatized, ladies and gentlemen, but please understand, on one hand, you have people screaming, fight the power in the stands, but you also know that people are often used as pawns, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you all know good as well as I do that not many people know the game of chess. Not many people know that there are other versions of chess out there in the world, right? So you may see people saying things like, this is chess, not checkers, Billy. But unfortunately, what Billy could flip on that person and say, yeah, but I'm playing Japanese chess. What type of chess are you playing? Right? Because the Japanese chess, there is no queen. It's a totally different game. So basically, what we're talking about here today, ladies and gentlemen, is something I bumped into recently, like really recently, from several different people. On one hand, there's an issue, right? Always a question through time, since the enslaved days, whether you're going to get up and physically change things and fight the whole thing, or whether you're going to continue to sit there and be, in a sense, a coward, dying thousands of deaths, I guess. Those are the two different extremes, maybe, that you've seen play out through time in this relationship, this rocky relationship between whatever the races are, right? Between black people and white people. You have one elder of mine and other comedians who go so far as to say, listen, black men, have sort of failed. They sort of laid down, in a sense, and allowed their whole community to be taken over. And I don't want to lay the blame only on black men per se. I mean, we are aware that there are plenty of women who would sell out, plenty of men who would sell out. But what we have to pretty much look at now is take a look at whether or not throughout those days and times when black folks decided to take up arms, which we do have in this culture, an example, a blueprint of a people who have decided to take up arms. Now, the thing about that moment with the Black Panthers, again, many black folks were deathly afraid of it. Many black folks were deathly afraid of black people with guns. Anyway, yeah, they were scared of this shit. They were scared of the way Malcolm X walked. Okay? So you better believe many people were scared of black people with guns following the Constitution, daring to recognize their right under the Second Amendment, which is why you have black people who are Republicans, in a sense, but mainly because they want to be able to keep their fucking guns. And maybe you can go even further back to, if you want to, give respect and all that to the Founding Fathers, who also initially put that Second Amendment in there to keep you away from this, tyranny of the majority or the tyranny of the government. So through time, you've seen marches, you've seen protests, you've seen Black Lives, you've seen Black Panthers set up different patrols, right? They had guns in the hood, and they literally showed up at moments where the police showed up, just to sort of be that balance. And they showed up armed. Okay? I personally have a story of a brother who they were approached by police, but what ended up happening is they whipped those police's ass. Ended up going to court, and they won, okay, because the police were acting crazy. So through time, we looked through all of this, right? We saw the resistance, different forms of resistance, right? If you're in the White House, if you're a house nigga, there could have been forms of resistance inside the house, right? Poison the food, whatever, stick some poison in the breast milk, or whatever it is, all different types. And the main choice was whether or not you were going to even escape, right? So there are some people that weren't even thinking about going up against, right, man to man against the people, because again, you're enslaved. You don't have the weapons per se that they do. So there was an idea to escape, to get out, and there were black people right there, ready, willing, and able to keep other black people from escaping, as slave-handed field sort of overseeing black people. And you see the same thing in society today. Now, let's fast forward, because we have that sort of a glorious past with the Black Panthers, including free breakfast for kids, including, like we said, patrolling different parts of the hood so that the cops know you have an answer. Now, listen, move fast forward to today, right? Where many people can say that the powers that be have probably mastered the protest paradigm already, if they didn't back then, because even back then you had people, Malcolm X, saying just protesting or just sitting in doesn't do anything. And you even had Martin Luther King himself say that he regretted integrating his people into a burning house. Now, in order for Malcolm X to say those words verbatim, what could he have possibly meant? He meant, and you know what, maybe the whole sitting in, maybe the whole protesting, maybe all that wasn't such a good idea, or maybe that wasn't productive or constructive, and it damn sure was not effective. And, soon thereafter, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King passed. So you see how that goes. Fast forward to today, or 2015 actually, fast forward, Ferguson riots. Ferguson protests, I should say. And this is a protest during which Barack Obama called black people, again, at that point it was black folks, I believe in Baltimore, but not Ferguson, black folks he called thugs. But anyway, Darren Seals, a dude who was on the street fighting for justice, right, in the same old vein, protesting. Now, D. Seals was the one who came online recording things, letting you know how their movement was taken over. in Ferguson, he explains how their grassroots real movement was taken over by what we could call, as Weatherman 68 has called, pieces of the beast system itself. This brother, D. Seals, who is dead now, probably, murdered, burned alive in a car. He was found in that way. So it's like, oh, it's unbelievable. So there's a piece, these tools of the beast system came in and infiltrated the Black Lives Matter thing, like the original Black Lives Matter. And people are saying on a higher level, in terms of who's moving the chess pieces, that there's a guy by the name of George Soros moving the chess pieces. Same guy who may have funded Antifa moving their chess pieces. So this is an interesting moment we have here now, ladies and gentlemen, that D. Seals in Ferguson called out Black Lives Matter as gay. He called out Black Lives Matter not just gay, but he said that they weren't interested in the street, that they started turning it into, oh, we want to represent everybody, you know, it's one voice, one thing, including LGBT, whatever. So he called out Black Lives Matter as being useless. D. Ray, the dude with the blue vest you used to see all the time, the black dude, blue vest, I think he was about to run for some political office in Baltimore. I don't even think he grew up in Baltimore. And that was all a farce. Black Lives Matter has already been exposed. Now, whether or not people know it or care, we don't know. But let's take a look at this article, ladies and gentlemen, since we've seen and we've heard already on the ground from our own folks, their own independent citizen journalist going live in his car, explaining how the real movement on the street was taken over by Black Lives Matter and that he did not appreciate it. And this article in the dailymail.co.uk, right, from the UK, breaking this down. Apparently, there's a Black Lives Matter situation on a leader in New York City. Let me know if you all have heard of him before. Let me know if you all have heard, if this is his thing. His name is Hank Newsom, chairman of Black Lives Matter. I don't know if he's ever spoken on D. Seals or the brother in Ferguson. I don't know if he's ever spoken on the belief by those people in Ferguson that Black Lives Matter, a group that he chairs, ruined the whole thing. And you all know as I do, if we're dealing with chess, we're dealing with different color pieces. Just imagine if the color of the pieces were not how you distinguished yourselves in chess, right? Imagine if it wasn't based on colors of pieces, right? Imagine if both sides had mixed colors or both colors and you had to distinguish your side in some other way. Because what you're learning and seeing through time, hopefully you've already learned that there's no such thing as race, really, right? Really trying to explain or describe a person's character and everything that he's all about just based on the skin color, right? Just like you can't say all white people are racist. You cannot say all black people are about black life. You cannot say all black people think that Black Lives Matter. Because how you go about showing Black Lives Matter is the test, right? Because you have some black folks who are all about eugenics. They believe Black Lives Matter, meaning there should only be certain type of people having black babies, and certain types of black people should not be allowed to have black babies. And that's another example of how some people may think Black Lives Matter, but how they go about that or demonstrating it is really the kicker. So if Black Lives really, let's see, Black Lives Matter leader declares war on police. Oh wait a minute, ladies and gentlemen, right off the bat, please share this video, because right off the bat we got a problem, ladies and gentlemen, we have a problem. Real G's move in silence. Black Lives Matter leader declares war on police, on the media. Is it official, y'all? And is training our people to defend our communities in Black Panther style armed patrols? What? Is that the key, ladies and gentlemen? Listen, you might be dealing with the people who just voted for Hillary Clinton. You might be dealing with people who may be thinking about voting for Biden. You may be dealing with people who are under the payroll of George Soros, who has some other design go ahead and fight and bleed for. So you got this chairman right here. His name is Hugh Newsom. What position on the chessboard he is? We know he ain't no king. We know he ain't no queen. Oh, wait. We know he's not any powerful piece. He could be maybe a bishop. But anyway, Hank Newsom, chairman of Black Lives Matter Greater New York chapter, right? Did he run for that position? How'd that go? Says the Black Rights Group is mobilizing its base. He told Daily Mail TV in an exclusive interview. Now, he's telling Daily Mail TV, my question is, has he met with several different black groups in New York privately? Has he met with black leaders privately? Has he discussed certain things within the walls of the black community privately? Is he automatically just sharing the whole game plan? Or the eggshell, the skeleton of a game plan, just telling everybody, we ready, we taking up arms, we are mobilizing in New York right now. And what does that do to the FBI? What does that do? But anyway, at some point, it may have to get to that point. Let's just see if these are thorough people. Black Lives Matter, who knows? The activist said Black Lives Matter aims to develop a highly trained military arm to challenge police brutality head on in the wake of George Floyd's death in Minneapolis. Right? So you're not even mentioning Breonna Taylor. You just want to hold up George Floyd's situation, which is perfectly fine. I get it. 30, 50, 60 people died, shot dead in Chicago last weekend. Nothing in the wake of their deaths. It's our obligation, it's our duty to provide people with a way forward. Okay? A way forward where? Are you driving, straight to hell with good intentions? We want the immediate end of government-sanctioned murder by the police. I like the way that sounds. I dig that. Everybody wants an immediate end, right? Some people are going so far as to say it happens every day. Cops are killing people every day, every single day. We want an immediate end. It sounds like a demand, a list of demand, which should always come with an or else portion to it. We prepare to stop these murders by any means necessary. That's another Malcolm X word. We are preparing and training our people to defend our communities, right? Meanwhile, you have people observing things from the outside saying, I don't know, we don't have any black community. We don't have right neighborhood. We don't have real control over the sources and resources. The black dollar doesn't even circulate too tough within the neighborhood. Is it our communities? Is it? If people turn around and destroy it when it's time to riot. You remember in Los Angeles riots, that black man came out, older black man. He was screaming on black folks. He's like, look at me, I'm black. Why are you doing this to me? I'm black. And you've already seen similar videos of black women, old black women, young black women in their store saying, you think black lives really matter? Then why are you doing this to me? So there seem to be elements all over the place, and let's continue reading this article, which is the main purpose of the video. Alright, a Black Lives Matter leader has declared war on the police, okay, that's deep, and plans to release a blueprint for change that involves Black Panther-style armed patrols monitoring the behavior of police and officers on the streets. Now, my question is, before it has gotten to this point, were they exhibiting anything that was Black Lives Matter or Black Panther at all? Were they going out pushing people to stay away from both parties? Were they mobilizing against this whole give your guns away? I believe in New York, there was a serious, heavy movement, and people were following through. A heavy movement, people, that was pissing me off. It was a heavy movement to get people to turn in their mother-loving guns. It was a movement. It may not have been just New York. It may have been in different cities. Do y'all know of any other cities in the States where they had that? Where people were out here literally giving up their guns in exchange for whatever. But this is all I'm saying. In New York, this is where it happened. So if people are trying to now, this is what I'm saying, y'all. It's going to be tough, but why tell Daily Mail TV first when I never heard nothing about this? I never heard nothing about this. Black Lives Matter trying to get militant? Black Lives Matter trying to get demilitant? Is that possible? possible when just yesterday, a couple years ago, D. Seals was calling them a bitch ass problem? Having no real concern for the people of Ferguson, more concerned with their Twitter followers, more concerned with donations. This is so interesting, the perception of Black Lives Matter. I've never heard anyone outside of the group, right? This is the chairman speaking of all this shit. I never heard anyone on the outside of the group saying any of this. But look, check this out. Hank Newsom, chairman of the Greater New York chapter of Black Lives Matter, says the Black Rights Group is mobilizing its base and aims to develop a highly trained military arm to challenge police brutality face to face. The way it sounds great. It sounds like it's hearkening back to the Black Panthers, but I haven't seen any Black Panther energy in niggas. The only thing I've been seeing, at least the past 3 years, are black male chumps scared of Donald Trump. This is before George Floyd, the landlord. All I was seeing were black male chumps deathly afraid of Trump being brought out because of Trump's presence, I guess. Scared of Trump. And now we're sitting up here talking about some highly trained military in a state where everybody turned in a lot of their guns. Here we go. In an exclusive interview, Hank Newsom says the Black Lives Matter movement has marched for years to wake people up to the realities of police brutality and oppression. Okay, well, I hope, and I'm pretty sure nobody needed any marching for that waking up to go down for anyone. I hope not. Because nothing about those marches woke me up, per se. Maybe it woke up some of the younger people, which is totally fine. And he believes that since the tragic death of George Floyd, who died after his neck was pinned under the knee of white police officer Derek Chauvin during an arrest on Memorial Day in Minneapolis, people have finally awoken. Okay? Now listen, when you're dealing with the people who have suffered trauma for years upon years, centuries upon centuries, right? All it takes is a little something maybe at the end. The saying goes, the straw that broke the camel's back, right? It was a straw at the end of the day. And you look at it, you're like, whoa, how did the straw do that? Just like you look at this and you're wondering, okay, how did the George Floyd thing do that when you had other instances, right? Brother shot 51 times. Brother unarmed, shot, reaching for his wallet. I mean, the trauma is heavy. So yeah, you don't really need anything serious, but one thing might just tip it off. And the continuing pumping of it, the replaying of it by the media, replaying of it all through social media, individuals, replaying it. And very few people like myself intentionally avoiding the whole thing for several days just to see what's up. Now he's saying it's our obligation, it is our duty to provide people with a pathway forward. That's interesting wording. He said a pathway, and I guess the pathway is the pathway to what? Hell, the pathway to death, the pathway to prison, the pathway to satisfy your immediate desire to just burn shit up, rough shit up. Is this an effort to sort of take away all of the shine, I guess, that Antifa has been getting, right? You have some people who are respecting Antifa because they are so violent. You got some people who are respecting Antifa, who many others, including people on the street, say that these fuckboys, these Antifa, latte sipping weirdos, they got nothing I don't really hear. They're using real black protest just to fuck shit up. That's literally it, just to fuck shit up. You haven't seen Antifa around here having serious meetings talking about being allies for any black cause. You haven't seen Louis Farrakhan sitting down, maybe he sat down with Mormons or whatever, I don't know, but he never sat down with any white group claiming that, okay, we want you to help at all. So there's a lot of issues, ladies and gentlemen. Number one, you have to understand what to do with that Antifa element amidst your thing, because there are various elements, various players that don't like state control, that don't like police control, and they would use any kind of thing, any kind of incident, especially incident of people that they don't respect, like black people. Antifa would use that, and they would Columbus that effort, just like white women Columbusing cornrows and going harder than black folks to represent the cornrow era.
Oh, Joe.
Black Lives Matter, a bunch of white folks holding a sign. Okay, you need more than a sign to convince me that that's what you feel. Give me a sign that says, end white supremacy now and replace it with justice. Dear white people, begin to make signs. If you're going to walk around with signs, and if you really think that people should assume that you want black lives to matter, make a sign that says racism must end now. White supremacy must end now and must be replaced with a system of justice that focuses on improving the lives of the least among us first and foremost. Let's keep going. We want liberation. We want the power to determine our own destiny. We want freedom from an oppressive government, and we want the immediate end of government-sanctioned murder by the police. Okay, all right. And we prepare to stop those government-sanctioned murders by any means necessary, right? So he's already talking this by any means necessary talk. I don't know how much training has already gone down. I don't know if he's based his confidence of this path forward based on the training that's already happened, maybe based on the training that he's done, maybe that he's implemented already. We don't know. How does he know that you are built to prepare it? Well, of course, if you're being funded by George Soros might be willing to fund this type of thing. Of course, George Soros being the puppeteer as opposed to the pawn, right? People using pawns for their own gain. The bold and potentially inflammatory statement will likely infuriate those who have grown angry with days of Black Lives Matter protests that have sparked violence and destruction across America. Right? Again, a lot of black people, ladies and gentlemen, on the street were lamenting. They were pissed off at the fact that much of the violence being done by white people was being brought to them. They were being blamed for it. And it would have been cool if they had been doing it, but they weren't the ones doing the violence. And that's why people in the country were being frustrated and infuriated with Black Lives Matter and all things Black Lives Matter protest because of all the violence that happened at Black Lives Matter protests, which is what this thing was. White folks came in not having any respect for you or your protest, and they want to fuck shit up. Literally. Many of them being paid to do so. So there will be a kind of treason, racial treason, literally, for a black person to be like, yeah, let's fuck with them, because they're getting paid to fuck shit up, right? You're just getting your ass laid out. Newsom is currently in Los Angeles, a city devastated by rioting the past few days, where he held a think tank attended by members of Greater New York Black Lives Matter leadership and military advisors. This is deep. So the military advisors care so much. Oh God, the meeting was held at the offices of Incredible Entertainment, owned by actor and musician Nick Cannon, a fervent Black Lives Matter supporter who also attended. Now, of course, that tells me Nick Cannon is not necessarily on the right, who knows, keep an eye on it. I would just say that's a reason to keep an eye on Nick Cannon. And no, I don't care how you feel about how he's handled his life and his money. I'm not talking about anything like that. Or his wife, or ex-wife, I don't care. I see someone as a fervent supporter of something like Black Lives Matter, and I hear from a D-SEALs what Black Lives Matter ended up being. You gotta wonder. In the conference room at the Trinity Compound in Burbank, Newsom said the group hammered out details of the Black Ops Blueprint, OPTS, which stands for Black Opportunities, right? So shouldn't that be two P's? Black, but maybe they're trying to play on Black OPS, which is Black Ops. But anyway, a new direction insurrection he hopes will be the beginning of the liberation of black people. Black Lives Matter has tens of thousands of activists protesting, right, the death of George Floyd in dozens of cities around America and across the world. Okay? Now, just on the face of that, when you see many different sprouts of protests that sort of sprout out here, boom, boom, all over the country, all sort of orchestrated and you can pretty much guarantee that there is some sort of a white hand behind all of it.
Oh, absolutely.
And maybe even funding it.
Yep.
Check us out. Black Lives Matter Greater New York chapter has emerged at the forefront of the movement as black rights become a topic for debate. New York, y'all, that's sort of an epicenter for a lot of things, right? New York was the epicenter that was at the forefront of coronavirus. And it seems to be at the forefront of these black rights and the movements. Newsom, 43, and imposing 6 foot 6 feet in 6 foot 6 inches, who wore shades and smoked a thick cigar for our photo shoot, believes his group can lead the war on police. Do y'all hear that? He already believes that.
Ain't that some shit?
He already believes that his group can lead the war on police. These are very, very dangerous things to say out in the open. I could see maybe this being said decades later, you know, after you've already developed a reputation as a force to be reckoned with, you know, maybe first clean up the streets, right? Maybe first, if you can, I don't know, help people mobilize people in the street. To appreciate each other more, to stop loving each other only for those first few weeks after a public police brutality thing shown regularly on TV, right? We mentioned earlier that just yesterday, you know, literally, not literally, but figuratively, just yesterday, many people were saying, black men ain't shit. And George Floyd was obviously included in that generalization. Plenty of white men saying at some point, black women ain't shit. And Breonna Taylor, even if she could have a hair hat, I don't know. Many people were just yesterday showing how much of a community that there was not. And now here you have this 6 foot 6 guy. I guess we're supposed to be concerned that he's 6 foot 6 and somebody's supposed to be worried. He's saying that he believes his group can lead the war on police. He didn't say he believed the group might lead it. Now, the question is, the word lead is very interesting, right? Because, again, we've seen Antifa come out and be the ones throwing things. Maybe that Antifa is putting pressure on Black Lives Matter to go ahead and pick up the baton, if you will, and to lead the war on police, right? He didn't say when. He didn't say win the war. He didn't say lead the war against police brutality. He said lead the war now. It's open season against police. Okay? Very, very interesting. I don't know if he's got anything. I don't know what he's working with in order for him to say something like that. He ain't nowhere near Khalid Muhammad. Ain't nobody out there nowhere near a Khalid Muhammad, and that's fine. Not everybody can be a Khalid Muhammad. But when we are thinking about leaders, we at least want our leaders to be logical. We at least want our leaders to be as silent, right? To move in silence like G's. To not give up key business plans or key, you know, reaction or revolutionary plans to no media right off the bat. Like this shows a poor use of your leadership, sir. He says the police have waged war on black people for decades. But his chapter is escalating the battle. And there's a quote around the word escalating because it's as if he used the word escalating. And here we go. He says, we're talking about self-defense, though. We're talking about defending our communities, he explains. You know what it's like to see a taser pointed at a 7-year-old? You know what it's like to see a 67-year-old black woman pepper sprayed and pushed to the ground? Newsom, wearing a black I Can't Breathe t-shirt with beads and an Ethiopian religious cross pendant around his neck, said his group has military advisors on board to get the job done. Now, by military advisors, I'm just assuming that means brothers and sisters who at some point were in the military, or they may be in the military now. We have black special forces officers advising us, and we will teach and train people in our communities. The Black Ops, which is now OPS, Department of Black Opportunities, he said. Now that's interesting. So he's also snitching. He's also saying, hey, we got black special forces officers out here, y'all. People in the, I guess in the military, that must be a key word, special forces. And he's telling everybody, those are the black people, right, who's advising us. Telling everybody, right? At one point, the whole idea of being a spook right next to the door, the whole idea is that your whole plan would be stealth. Your whole plan would be something that nobody knew you were doing. You weren't telling everybody your plan. You were just studying the plan. You were just studying how they work and looking at their sources and seeing how they train. And you go back to your community and you take that intelligence and you work with it. But this is way different. He's telling y'all, he's telling the world that people known as special forces officers in the military, I guess, black people who now will have a target on their back. Even if, no matter who you are out there, black people, if you call yourself, or if other people, if you're getting paid as a special force officer, please understand that this chairman of the Black Lives Matter has just put a target on your back as being people who might be advising individuals on how to set off a war with the cops. Now, listen, luckily, right, so far Donald Trump has named Antifa as a terrorist organization. Antifa is not quite like Black Lives Matter. There's no official organization. There are no official leaders, I don't think, of Antifa. But there are leaders of Black Lives Matter. And when he labeled that group terrorist, and he knows and people know that Black Lives Matter is right there alongside of Antifa, whether they're throwing shit or not, this tells me that what you should expect is anybody black, anybody considered themselves Black Lives Matter, and who's out there with white Antifa that doesn't care about Black Lives Matter, you're going to be questioned, you're going to be deemed maybe conspiring with the terrorist. Be careful. Please know who you're working with, and please know what the plan is, and please understand you should only be following people that have your best interest at heart. Never follow nothing like an Antifa. And he goes, what we'll see is people put in place to defend our communities from police who will murder us and get away with it. Okay? Now, this will no doubt lead people to look up all the statistics, right? So please understand, you're going to be seeing more people looking up statistics, looking up to see how many black men were killed last couple years by police. They're going to look to see how many black women were killed this last couple years by police. And they're going to compare that to how many white men were killed by police. And it may come out that more white people were killed by police than black people. And then it's going to wonder, so let's see what they're doing here. In a move reminiscent of the strategy adopted by the controversial Black Panther Party in the 1960s, Newsom said Black Lives Matter will create peace officers who will patrol black communities to challenge law enforcement and stop police brutality. Okay, that's cool. Very good. And one thing that's interesting is that, in my opinion, cameras, in my opinion, people with cell phones, that's just as, unless these peace officers are armed, right? Cell phones, people with cell phones aren't necessarily armed, but people with cell phones are just as good in terms of evidence being presented sometimes than people who are physically there. But look, check this out. Asked if the police officers would be armed and asked if the peace officers would be armed and open carry their guns in the states that allow it, he said, yeah, absolutely, would make sense. Yeah, open carry in those states, yeah, this should always happen. There should be a gang of black folks right there if there's some brutality going on by police. Great idea, if that's really the case. Founded in 1966, the Black Panther Party's core practice was its open carry armed citizens patrol, known as cop watching, to monitor the behavior of officers of the Oakland Police Department and challenge police brutality in the city. Very interesting that they brought up Oakland, as I remember someone saying that the riots recently in Oakland were 75% white people. However, the group emerged, Black Panther Party emerged as one of the most influential black movement organizations ever. And at its height in 70, it had 68 offices and thousands of members across America. Now, I don't know if you've done your research then, but people are going to wonder, well, was anybody funding Black Panther Party back then? Was any white hand behind all that? I don't know. I can't answer that question, but it will be interesting to look it up. Look at all these images, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not one who scours the internet for as many images as I can. I'm not one who goes all over the place looking for any more scenes of police and brutality and black people and COVID masks and protests. Oh my, and people being I don't sit up there and watch these things, y'all. The BPP also became synonymous with Black Power symbol, a symbol displayed on a giant banner on the wall at Nick Cannon's office, which Newsom posed for photos in front of. The Black Lives Matter chapter chairman doesn't hide from the fact that his group's blueprint replicates some of the ideologies of the Black Panther Party. We pattern ourselves after the Black Panthers. After the Nation of Islam, we believe that we need an arm to defend ourselves. You need two arms. You need two arms, two legs, and a head. Allah. We will build and train peace officers to keep the peace in our communities, to defend our communities, to keep our communities safe. I hope so. We'll see. I don't see us working with police. I see us policing ourselves. I see us teaching black people how to police their own communities. Newsom says his chapter is now raising a war chest, money, and plans to build a headquarters in an unused church in New York. Already checking stuff out. But while big money donations have been flooding in from celebrities and high worth individuals, he insists his group won't accept the corporate dollar. We've never received a corporate dollar as Black Lives Matter, Greater New York, he said. We've had an immense amount of support from Nick Cannon. We've had support recently from Rihanna and her Savage Fenty brand. What does that mean? You've had support recently from them? Whether they give you a free fucking CD? Motherfucking. But most of our donations are small dollar donations from regular people of all colors who respect what we stand for. When we start talking about black opportunities and building our war chest to defend ourselves from the war on the poor, to defend ourselves against the war that is anti-blackness in America, then people will have to meet a certain criteria. Change. Look at all these images, right? These images meant to stir up something in you, right? Stir up what? I don't know. Protesters stopped by cops after traveling on Manhattan Bridge. Alright. Newsom says the blueprint also aims to ensure that the black community has fair housing. Alright, so they branching out. They're not just talking about defending on the street. They're talking about fair housing, economic empowerment, and wants to nurture entrepreneurship. And then he's gonna start talking about bigging up LGBT communities. And then he's gonna talk about ensuring that LGBT has a place for a voice. And then he's gonna talk about making sure we make sure that people who have Tourette's really get their just due. And he's gonna talk about, right? So many different people, many different people to help and support, I guess. Which ends up, diluting the black power, if you will, right? You can't really call it much black power if it's being diluted, or if it's been diluted by the day. We want freedom from oppression, and we don't believe in equality, but we fight for equity and access, right? We don't believe in equality, okay? I've heard that before, where people say it's all about justice, not equality. The Bronx native who recently returned from a trip to Minneapolis also says education is key, and he wants to teach people on how to use the law as a tool. We want to teach knowledge to our people, teach them their history, which American textbooks omit. We want to teach them about the law, right? So he's arming people, teaching them about the law, doing all these things all at once. Oh boy, we'll bring in kids and teach them and train them the way that the Black Panthers used to do, okay? Well, we heard about your military advisors there, but do you have Black Panther advisors? Do you have people who were rolling and rocking with the Black Panthers, co-signing you, sir? Newsom says the organization also aims to feed the poor. Oh, here we go. Put its people in positions of power, right, to make a change for the better and push for new legislation in government, okay? So is Black Lives Matter becoming a political party, ladies and gentlemen? Is that what we're looking at? Someone's going to be running campaigns on the Black Lives Matter ticket, and the next thing you know, you're going to have a white guy running under the Black Lives Matter party ticket? Oh boy, but as rioting continues across the nation, Newsom refused to call for an end to the violence and the looting. In other words, he's not mad at Antifa. He's telling Antifa, go right ahead. Yeah, it was all about Black Lives Matter, yeah. And no, we didn't start off with violence and throwing bottles and burning buildings, but look, if that's what y'all want to do, go right ahead. And you've seen on the ground videos I've shown of Black Lives Matter people on the ground screaming on white people that are inciting the violence, screaming on white people that are doing all the looting. Black Lives Matter people on the ground screaming on white folks for spray painting BLM on buildings. So there's internal problems going on with Black Lives Matter, as you can tell. Instead, he believes the world needs to be more empathetic towards the rioters. You're talking about people who have been told time and time again that their black lives don't matter. You're talking about a people who witnessed their peers and their family members incarcerated at unfair rates. You're looking at a people who are miseducated, and then to add insult to injury, the government allows police to come in and kill us and allow police officers to continuously get away with killing us. Any person would be outraged, which makes the average person immediately wonder, since Newsom is here in New York, immediately wonder what the numbers are, at least within the last 2 years, of how many black people were killed in New York alone by black people in an unjustified way, meaning they weren't responding to the crimes being committed, they weren't actually responding to being shot at. But we're talking about situations where police, just shot for no reason. Newsom said the looting is ultimately a product of capitalist America and its treatment of the black community. Okay, so capitalist America, I guess that's why the white folks are looting, and the treatment of the black community on top of that. Okay, they want to go out and grab all those things that America told them that they should have, but they couldn't have. Like what? Grab all what things? Material things? Is that what we're talking about? Because I'm not that much of a material possession kind of dude. I did see that video though of the sister damn near crying herself, almost crying herself to hysterics because black people had the nerve to loot the Gucci store. They had the nerve to loot the Gucci store, y'all. Can you believe it? That's funny. So she was crying about that. What'd you think about that? Hidden Tower says he is bogus, stealing quotes from our poor righteous teachers. His real end game is to trigger black people. Well, hey, listen, that's something to think about. Good morning, Sonny's big sister. What up, Hidden Tower? An old mystery. That's something to think about, especially if we're considering there may be a white hand moving these pawns as part of their game. But again, at some point, right? Black people are going to maybe face the idea of whether or not just destroying things is going to ever be a logical or any kind of default position, even if it's last resort. I guess if it's a last resort, you see your community is about to be taken over, you either suicide yourself, kamikuri or kamikaze like they do in Japan, or bikuri, or what it was called when the samurai used to stab themselves in the gut instead of being taken as prisoners. So maybe that's the ultimate. I don't know. I can see white folks playing with black pieces and using black pawns in their twisted game of destroying and taking them all off the board. I can see that playing. I can see that happening too, where white black folks unknowingly are being controlled like pieces of pawns in a chess game towards their own demise. They want to go out and grab all those things that America told them that they should have, but they couldn't have. Grab things, okay, like rights, I guess. People are poor, people are desperate, people are frustrated. So what do you expect them to do? People want to destroy because they're angry and they're frustrated, right? It sounds like a temper tantrum. It sounds like a child. And maybe that's what people have been resorted to. People have been treated as. I don't know. But the whole idea that once you're frustrated, therefore you must destroy, that must be some sort of American, I don't know, Americanized white supremacy type of thinking. Logic, right? That sounds like white supremacy logic. People want to destroy because they are angry and they are frustrated, right? White folks are angry and frustrated, right? The racist ones, the ones who have the low security, frustrated and angry to the point where some sharp minds like Francis Cress Welsing would say that, you know what, racism is only happening because some white people are concerned about the destruction of their race, right? And they're frustrated and they're angry, so that they therefore want to destroy. Y'all see how I flipped that? Y'all see how I flipped that? You got this brother named Newsom who's saying, hey, people are poor, man. People are desperate, man. People are frustrated, man. So what do you expect them to do? He's agreeing. He's almost making a rational argument for destruction. He's not saying he understands it. He's saying, what do you expect? I get it. So he says people want to destroy because they are angry and they are frustrated. And I just made that same connection to why certain white people, white poor people, who, for example, did not ever own slaves but wished that they could, right? Those people were angry and frustrated. Like, you have a lot of white folks today who may be angry and frustrated because they, in their minds, they aren't daily receiving white privilege checks. You may hear white folks say, hey, whatever, man. I'm not getting my white privilege check. My dad beat my ass, and I grew up in sort of a hood type of thing, too. Let's keep reading this so it can end and we can go on our day, ladies and gentlemen. Because he just validated, you know, white people destroying everything just by saying people want to destroy because they are angry and frustrated. And in the world of logic, in the world of, you know, self-preservation, you don't go around just destroying everything because you're angry. You don't go around destroying things just because you're frustrated. He added, Black Lives Matter didn't create this violence, true. Black Lives Matter is a product of this violence, right? The whole idea of being a product of your environment, right? As opposed to flipping it and saying the environment is a product of us. The rioters are the product of the violence, okay? The rioters are the product of the violence. Okay, a lot of those rioters are white. Most of the rioters, most of the people doing all the destruction are white. Even in New York, probably. So, I don't know what this dude is talking about, but I do know that there may be some white folks as members of Black Lives Matter. Newsom, who has a law degree, and was a project manager at a law firm before becoming a full-time activist, says Black Lives Matter Greater New York has risen to the point where it is one of the most effective Black Lives Matter organizations in the world, okay? Well, you got a guy who wasn't even brought up in no grassroots tradition. You got a guy who has a law degree, which I believe every black person should know the law. He doesn't say that he's licensed. It says that he was a project manager at a law firm, right? And then in the midst of that, he decided to become a full-time activist. Okay, I'd have to know a lot more about you, Newsom. He described its president, 19-year-old Nupol Kiazolu, as the second most influential young activist behind, oh my God. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, did I just read this? I didn't read it aloud though. Let me just read the paragraph before. Newsom, who has a law degree and was a project manager at a law firm before becoming a full-time activist. The least they could have done in that description of Newsom is explain in a quick few words. At least let us know he's been an activist, at least when he was in college. Tell us he was an activist, at least when he was in law school. Tell us at least when he was a project manager. Was he an activist at that law firm? Did they kick him out because of his activism and therefore he became a full-time activist? Very strange, ladies. They're not giving us any dates. They're not letting us know when he got this law degree. They're not telling us for how long he was at that law firm managing projects. And they didn't tell us how long he's been some full-time activist. So there's so much. And this is how I read articles like this. I don't know how y'all do it. Maybe I just react to it. I don't know. And then Newsom goes on to describe the president of Black Lives Matter, who I thought, this is in the New York chapter. So the president is 19-year-old Nupal Kiazolu. And Newsom, this brother, 6'6", mad at the world, he said that he's the second most influential young activist behind that little white girl called Greta Thunberg. The white girl who looks like she's actually at least 45. She has these weird facial movements when she's speaking. Her upper lip goes up to the left. I don't know much about why this black man is upholding some Greta Thunberg. What type of activism? She's not out here possibly getting people thrown in jail. She's not out here facing things. She's not out here possibly getting directions from George Soros. Or is she? I don't know. I don't know Greta Thunberg. I didn't respect anything. I wasn't respecting that whole movement. Black Lives Matter Greater New York's blueprint will be unveiled in Times Square. Wait a minute. Black Lives Matter's Greater New York's blueprint will be unveiled in Times Square, New York on Sunday at 12 p.m. The document will be delivered to black communities across America. By email, I'm assuming, or what? What's going on? Are they going to knock on doors? Ladies and gentlemen, this is very weird. They're coming to New York on Sunday to show you what the blueprint is. Let's just look at some comments, because I don't want you to just hear my commenting. Let's see the comments below. It says, why not? If you are able to do something the police are unable to do, go for it. Without police presence, crime is sure to drop. Police life matters too. Someone says, this is bad. What will happen with no police? So you will have no police at all? Will you control the city then? Anyone else getting that feeling? Not all cops are bad. Most of them are good people. They help when they're called. So much for healing things and making them better, someone said. Denying a neighborhood access to the police isn't a service to the community. And someone else said, will they be patrolling their own city so that police don't abuse their power? Defunding the police is one of their goals. So who will you call when crime happens? Ghostbusters! So, ladies and gentlemen, we just read that together here today. I wanted to thank you all for stopping by, man. Seriously. And now I believe it says by now we should know that there's an art to this, and everyone will play their part, knowingly or otherwise. Some pawns will jump out 2 spaces ahead in the beginning. Oh yes, definitely. Some pawns jump 2 spaces ahead in the beginning. And it's always the thing, because the thing about being a pawn, right, is that you know good and well that you're expendable. That's one thing you know for sure. And that there may be a random chance, and it depends highly on the weakness of your opponent, very random chance for that pawn to make it to the other side unscathed. Sure, the pawn can do its own killing at some point, but what pawns end up doing, it really cancel each other out. What pawns end up doing, if they're alive, they're sort of just in the way. They're in the lane of other more powerful people, but that could be a good thing. They block certain things, right? Sometimes they use black folks as pawns to block, some other energy, or to take the brunt of the force of the violence, right? As we saw with many Black Lives Matter people on the ground, where they would be screaming at Antifa, telling Antifa, what the hell are you doing? All of this stuff is going to come back and look like we are doing the violence. And many people said, those people who were watching on TV, which I wasn't, many people said as they watched that, yeah, black people are getting blamed for the violence. Because this is ostensibly about George Floyd, right? This is about George Floyd, right? Black Lives Matter, black folks being, done in by the police. Breonna Taylor. And you're welcoming an element of that you don't know, element that doesn't know or care about you into your whole thing. And now you have this guy whose background we don't know, y'all. This Newsom guy, he's talking that talk though. He's talking that talk that will definitely connect with the basic, right? Will connect with people. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I respected what the Black Panther Party was doing with those guns, being right there. I respected, and I heard some stories of it being real. So I hope it's real, I hope people are really real, but at the same time, we already know the deal, right? We've heard from Darren Seals. We already know, in a sense, who Black Lives Matter is. But one thing I wanted to do really quickly is because they seemed, for some reason, they want us to know about this guy, Nupol Kiazolu, who I've never heard before, right? And he's calling this guy the second most influential young activist behind Greta Thunberg. And, I don't know if it's true, but let me just see what I can find under this guy, because I've never heard his name. See if he has any videos, and I'd like to see if, when they show the name, so we probably gotta have something. Alright, let's see. Oh, it's a woman. 19-year-old woman. Let's see what she has to say here, ladies and gentlemen. Oops, that's not the site you're looking for. Alright. Let's check this. She says, why I'm voting. Alright, this is the leader. New York. Black Lives Matter. Watch. Why I'm voting with 18-year-old, this last year, Black Lives Matter activist, not president at that point, so maybe she's only been president for a month or who knows. Activist Nupol Kiazolu. Who knows where she's from? There is a new generation of politics coming through, and I'm going to be a part of that. And here she is. A new kind of politics. A new generation of politics. What does that mean? A new generation of politics? Alright, I don't know what that phrasing means, but that's who she is. Nupol Kiazolu, 18 years old, y'all. President of the Youth Coalition for Black Lives Matter. And founder and CEO of Vote 2000. Is that year 2000? Was she alive in the year 2000? Anyway, and proof that there's no age limit on activism. Whatever, we didn't need her to prove that. The 18-year-old Brooklyn native has been a leading voice among the younger generation, taking strong stances on the issues that severely impact her community. This November, she's exercising her voice in one of the most powerful ways a young person can by voting in the midterm election. Find out why voting matters to her, y'all. Alright? Now, listen to her. Let's see what she says.
Hi, my name is Nupol Kiazolu. I'm 18 years old, and I'm a civil rights activist from Brooklyn, New York. I'm president of the Youth Coalition for Black Lives Matter Greater New York, also founder and CEO of Vote 2000, and I plan to become a politician and civil rights and defense attorney and your future president in 2036. Voting is important to me because the system that I live in as a Black woman affects me in every single way, and voting really determines the livelihood of people, and people of color. I used to be one of the young people that felt my vote did not matter, and it took me educating myself and speaking to my mentors to really come to a realization of how important my vote actually is. One of the most important issues I would want my vote to affect is police brutality, because there aren't enough laws in place to hold police officers accountable that brutalize Black people and people of color.
There's not enough laws in place? I mean, don't you have a law like you kill somebody, you get the death penalty? That's a law in place right there, but I guess police officers are exempt from that, right? So all you want to do is take away the exemptions. You want to release the escape of the law, really, but
in this country. Furthermore, I would like to see prison reform. Prison reform is so important, and Black people and mass incarceration is a serious issue in this country that needs...
Yeah, I'm sorry. I do have respect for young folks. I do, but they are sharp people. Well, you don't need no young folks really who barely can grasp the whole thing. And like I said, I don't know where she's from per se, but that doesn't really matter much. She's claiming a lot of different things here. But this is Black Lives Matter, y'all. And who knows what they're all about. But like I said, this is the brother that I dig right here, alright? And he was talking about D-Ray, which I thought was pretty interesting. And the Black Lives Matter movement and the Mike Brown protest, y'all. It's important to remember this history and connect with the present.
Absolutely.
What's been going on in the past.
Yep.
And hey, what's going on here? I don't even get the volume on here. Hey.
Absolutely.
How did you first start with the organizing and mobilization in Ferguson after Mike Brown? Because I know you were one of the ones who actually started.
Well, when it happened, he died when he was murdered. And I received a phone call maybe 30 to 45 minutes later. He died so close to my home. I just went out there and I really didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I wasn't going nowhere until we did something about it.
So you get out there on the scene, you hear that the brother was shot and killed. You get out there, what's going on?
Yeah, it was just people in the community coming together, a small group of people, black men, black women, we were trying to see what was going on. I was just going down like that. We weren't getting no answers, and then it was just trying to backtrack and figure out these stories. Someone said he stole. Like, okay, he stole from the gas station. What they got to do with it? Like, you know, so we were just trying to figure it out. And then we were just trying to check up on his moms and see how she was doing and all that.
So now you're out there in Ferguson, organizing and mobilizing. At what point did the Black Lives Matter movement get involved?
But technically, they never got involved. It was just a slogan to us. It was just, we started off as hands up, don't shoot. We called it the hands up, don't shoot. You know, we're in the streets, maybe 16, 18 hours a day. So of course, you know, we need chants, we need, you know, it's electrifying the movement. So we come in with the hands up, don't shoot, no justice, no peace. We want freedom, no, we saying things every day. That's all it came to. Black Lives Matter, we say such, Black Lives Matter, so let's catch it. So we started saying Black Lives Matter. And it caught on, and it became so big. The whole time, we never even knew this is actually an organization of lesbian and gay people. We just said Black Lives Matter because it's catchy. We never had a meeting with these people. We never even knew they existed. So we actually created Black Lives Matter to rock energy. But the whole time, they were an organization, they had different plans, and what they was doing was, wow, they created Black Lives Matter with their energy, right? Like I said, it's our pain that ends up being the soundtrack to their gain. They'll use us as pawns, using people as pawns to play their sick game. And look, watch how Black Lives Matter did it, y'all. It allowed us to go out of all work, mobilize the streets, go to police. Like they said, it's what they tweeted about it. It's in the world. And most of the world, when they got here in Missouri, they scared to come here and see what's going on. They watching it on TV. So they want to get the truth somewhere else. They want to Twitter to get that truth. Twitter's not going to say the truth because none of the people from Ferguson with it. That's so deep. People are going to Twitter for the truth about what's going on in Ferguson. But the people in control of the Twitter accounts in Ferguson are not from Ferguson. They came through and infiltrated. They later became known to this guy as not the hands up, don't shoot, but the Black Lives Matter crew. So the hashtag developed out of their own pain on the street. I didn't start Twitter page until my friend Phil came there, but it was already a good story. So they were using the Twitter accounts to create these GoFundMes and create these different PayPal accounts, all in the name of Ferguson, all in the name of Mike Brown, and going under the name Black Lives Matter. So if you from the outside of the name, you see Ferguson, you see Black Lives Matter, you think, oh, these people legit. So they see, looking from the outside in, you see Antifa making tweets you see Antifa tweeting, and you see at the bottom of Antifa tweeting, and they got hashtag Black Lives Matter, you're thinking, oh, alright, there's a connection, maybe I can respect Antifa and what they're doing. Nah.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands, even millions poured out and told Red Obama, I said George Orwell, he's one of those smart ass, I think.
He's talking about George Soros right now.
He sent $33 million to organizations like Black Lives Matter, Operation, so now we had a GoFundMe account set up and different monies being brought to Black Lives Matter because of the fact that they're in Ferguson protesting with the brothers and sisters out there. So ultimately the money was sent for Ferguson. Yeah. Money was sent for Ferguson. And what happened with this money? Did y'all see this money? I've never seen a opinion that money. Like if you go to Ferguson right now, it's nothing but abandoned buildings. That's no. Mike Brown, senior, he finally just probably 3 weeks ago, opened up a new center. He's thinking funds in it because all the money's been tied into Black Lives Matter. Damn, like other organizations that had nothing to do with Ferguson. Black Lives Matter have not. They haven't reached out.
I mean, the Black Lives Matter was getting all that money, millions of dollars, and they couldn't set up anything in those areas, no programs for kids, nothing to show that they think black. What it sounds like is their Twitter account matters.
Like they help them with issues. I mean, they call Lula talking, take a couple pictures, but then it's back to business. It's all politics for them now. There's no anyone for mayor of Baltimore, the dude D-Ray. He had nothing to do with Ferguson. We were doing actions. We going up in the bars, and the bars down, the police come. He had called tweeting about it, like he's hurt even.
He's saying a Black Lives Matter representative by the name of D-Ray used to wear a blue suit he used to wear a blue vest everywhere you'd see him on TV. He ran for politics position in Baltimore. Right. He never really fucked with the people in Ferguson. However, when everything was hitting the fan, when there was protesting going on, D-Ray was in the car tweeting. And we later saw a fake arrest of D-Ray. I don't know if y'all remember that, where he had this weird little look on his face like he was being arrested, like that was real, and like we should respect it. Nah, we don't respect nothing about D-Ray. He put a dark cloud over Black Lives Matter, and we have reason to side-eye even Black Lives Matter today. We got reason to side-eye Antifa today.
Get involved. He didn't know he just popped up out of nowhere. Just came to Baltimore, and he clicked in with the other gay people that was out there, and they put a little small group. We really didn't get a little mind because at the time I think about it, we in the middle of war. These thousands of people getting shot at terrorists by police every night. So we had enough time to really check into who's who, what's what. We just see a group of people, tweeting. And eventually, that became Black Lives Matter. Now, you talk about we all know that Black Lives Matter is really Gay Lives Matter. It's really a homosexual organization based on homosexuality. At what point did the brothers and sisters in Ferguson realize what was really going on? And in fact, that they helped.
This is another thing you may not really hear about. It's a good question. Is when did people in Ferguson know that there was something wrong, something very strange about this Black Lives Matter thing? And we always want to know if people on the ground knew that their real movement was being infiltrated.
Like you said, create. But I wouldn't even say create because it wasn't y'all created. Y'all made that stuff. They created, the agenda. But y'all put them on the stage also. At what point did y'all realize that Black Lives Matter? We realized it was a homosexual agenda was the personal sexuality. Well, we realized that when the smoke cleared and the dust settled, and the media was gone, and the police wasn't out there as heavy, and then everything's online now. We live in the social media era, so of course we online now. Twitter and Facebook paying attention to what's being said, what's going on, because everything's going viral, and we're just catching up. Because like when the action in the street slowed down, then we started seeing what's going on online. At that point, they had all became social media superstars. I mean, these cats went from, like I said, D-Ray, when he came to Ferguson, he had maybe 300 followers. Now he's up to 20,000. Then every day is growing. So we don't create a monster, you know what I mean? And at that point, we couldn't stop it. But
At that point, we couldn't stop it. It was out of his hands. It was no longer about the street. It became all about politics. And it became all about even LGBT things for some reason.
realized it was a whole big agenda because everyone they put in the forefront was gay. Britney's gay. Alexis gay. They did a whole fake gay marriage. Two girls that met in Ferguson. They first got to Ferguson. They was dating men. They came together, did a fake gay marriage just so they can get funded. Now white folks, they get a lease. They bought them a car, put them in an apartment, paid it up for a year and a half, 2 years. The other guy, Charles Wade, we found out he's gay. They sent him. They sent him about $250,000. Then D-Ray, he's gay. So everyone that's put in the forefront is gay. And not only that, they're not even interested in the community anymore. They're not even interested in getting justice for Mike Brown. And that's a whole.
So back in those days, it was Mike Brown. And this freedom fighter dude on the ground was led to believe they didn't really even care about Mike Brown. That they didn't care about really police brutality. And this is a question that they had about Black Lives Matter that maybe New York chapter is trying to avoid or they may have to confront one day. But people also may not know much about the Darren Seals story and the origin of the whole Black Lives Matter, despite there being a lot of videos on it.
Fight for dead rights, fight against homophobia. If you want to forget about Mike Brown, so we don't care about Mike Brown, it's all about our original agenda. We just exploited the Mike Brown name and movement.
So it was never about Black Brown as far as Black Lives Matter. Never Black Lives only mattered when they were given a platform.
Think about this, how come Black Lives Matter when heterosexual black men ain't a part of the movement? You can't make a black life without black men.
That's deep. How can you say Black Lives Matter when there's no one in the forefront? There's no black heterosexual man in the forefront of the group. So I wasn't making any comment about the sexuality of the leader in New York, about the article we read earlier. He wasn't. I don't know if he's married or not. He's got a lady. Who knows? It seems to matter now. This is deep.
It really was a genius slogan, was turned into like even more genius robbery. I was so to speak. What they did.
A genius slogan that turned into a more genius robbery.
They found a way to use Twitter to exploit the narrative of young black men to make millions of dollars and create their own different solo careers. They launched their careers. That's all they did. They launched their huge Mike Brown's death to launch solo careers.
They're using people's death to launch their career. They're using Twitter, maybe. They're using IG to launch their career all off of the death of this guy. And how many people are doing the same thing on George Floyd's situation? I don't know. This is Mike Brown, and we still need to be Mike Brown, and we still need to be yelling out. This is the origin of Black Lives Matter, y'all.
So now you don't see me, you don't see Tory Russell, you don't see Spook, you don't see any of the people, they don't talk about Josh, he doing 8 years right now. He was one of the main faces out there. He only 18 years old, but he was 17 years old on the front line every day. You don't see he was 16 years old, lost voices, they was out there every day sleeping.
And this guy's talking about the second, like this 18-year-old leader of Black Lives Matter being the second most influential behind Greta Thunberg. And this brother here is talking about dudes who died already 18 years old, or maybe even in jail because of their activities, being real activists in a sense in the street. In a sense, something that Greta Thunberg would never even do.
Those are you don't see any of them anymore. You see that's selective views. Now what happens to these brothers? Well, from what I was told,
for the record, the brother that you see talking on the right, he was found in a car that was burned. Okay, he was found in a car that was burned.
Josh, his car, King Quick Trip, setting up negatives on fire. Never been in trouble before. This is first offense. Even if he did or didn't do it, he should have never been doing 8 years behind that. But now he's in the penitentiary doing 8 years because he went against the system of public defender. They made an example out of him. They said it in court, they want to make an example out of him. So all the other protesters can learn that he ain't no money to fight the legal. Fight the legal. He was accused of lighting a bag of potato chips. But they made it sound like an arson, like he brought down a Quick Trip. If you go over the Quick Trip test, it wasn't a Quick Trip that you seen when it first. It's a whole different Quick Trip. One different potato. They sing, try to light that one down and burn it up. But on the video, you see him with bag of chips setting on fire. That thing caught on fire for real. So now he's doing 8 years behind that because he didn't have money to hire a lawyer. Because Black Lives Matter, of course, got
Wow.
But I heard a lot of the protesters that they are incarcerated. A lot of people were. Yeah, a lot of them were organized. Even a lot of people, I don't even know the person. Even so many people out there, they were snatching up cats. I'm getting called home from my cousin that's in prison. They telling me that cats getting 5-10 years. And
Wow.
one of the brothers, Ali from New Black Panthers, he was one of the first ones out there doing like security and kind of like keeping people out of the streets and keeping everything ordered.
That's another thing that we should keep an eye on. What is the position of the new Black Panther Party as it pertains to Antifa? What is the position of the new Black Panther Party as it pertains to Black Lives Matter? What is the position of the new Black Panther Party as it pertains to the protests that are happening today? And where is the new Black Panther Party? Where is the Fruit of Islam? Are they? I'm not saying these people need to be out there, by the way. I'm saying I'd be interested to know all groups of what they feel about this guy, Darren Seals. I'd like to know about all of these groups, how Farrakhan feels about Darren Seals, how Farrakhan feels about Antifa and Black Lives Matter. I mean, it's going to be tough to go against Black Lives Matter as a black person because it's almost like you're saying, what? You don't think Black Lives Matter? You're against Black Lives Matter? What?
Keeping things neat so he won't, so he's gonna have this huge charge on him. The other Black Panthers, he's doing 10 years now. They said he threatened to bomb cars, some crazy stuff like that. That's my boss. But again, he doesn't have any money to fight these cases. You talking about poor people from the hood that ain't never had no money. They just going out there to fight what they believe in. They don't have no money to go up against the system.
That's another example of poor planning, and another reason why people seem to be volunteering themselves as pawns to a game. And in some ways, it seems like going out doing these things, it almost feels like you're submitting. It almost feels like you're just turning yourselves in. Hearing from this guy right here saying about all the people that are in jail because of their protesting, because they did not have the planning. There was no way out. There was no what if. There was not even a plan as to what to do once you get down there, wherever this set up places to go march. All they were doing was acting without what? Logic. Just moving, acting without logic, not having any clue that they may be walking into a furnace of sorts, having no clue that this entire thing may be some sort of weird design, and people are just sitting back somewhere in on their huge 55-acre lawn, using you, black pieces like pawns.
Because people have Black Lives Matter, taking all our you still in contact with his mother? But now is she in contact? Like, is the Black Lives Matter helping her? And what happened? Why aren't you no longer in contact? I seen you on the videos. In fact, one of the videos I put out, they used the clip of when she was out there. You know.
I'm very interested in this answer. I don't know what the answer is. He was one of the real freedom fighters, you know, around the Michael Brown situation. He used to be in contact with Michael Brown's mother. I think Michael Brown's mother was one of the black women alongside Hillary Clinton, known as Mothers of the Movement, when they were doing their campaign in 2016 when Hillary Clinton got her behind spanked by the likes of Donald Trump. This may be one of those women that he, for some reason or another, before he died, he had lost contact with her.
Side by side. I'm not in contact with his mother anymore. Originally, when it first happened, of course I was concerned with the mother, black mother just lost her son. I walked her home, she cried to me, she threw up, she was real sick, she was just really just lost, you know, and she didn't know what was going to happen, what to do. And I told her, I gave her a word, I said, I'm not leaving, I'm not stopping until we get justice, we don't figure out what happened to the son. So originally she was very supportive, she was out there with us every day. But when it got to it, man, it's all, you know, they said how sharp and then you get in the head, tell them what to say, what not to say. Became so big in the media that people forget about justice for Mike Brown to how much money he'll get from Mike Brown. So eventually, the father of Mike Brown Sr., he had to step up when she was slacking that because, like I said, they got to it. It was in a very,
Which is an interesting thing. Maybe it speaks to some of our gender roles. They're speaking on Mike Brown, the mother of Mike Brown. He's saying how Al Sharpton got to her a little bit, talking to her about things that she should and should not say. And obviously, if there's a lawsuit coming, you want to maybe not be so out there in public speaking as much and calling about some justice if you're trying to get money, and maybe Sharpton would get some money on the side too. And maybe the gender roles we're talking about in our community is that she seemed almost taken by Al Sharpton, and this gentleman here said the husband or the father had to stand up. Do y'all understand the important role of the man? Imagine if there was no father there for Mike Brown and the mother was just easily fooled, easily bamboozled in a sense, easily taken by Al Sharpton. And it moves away from getting justice to how much money can I get? And we should already know, ladies and gentlemen, that the parents, the family, that is actually saying that they don't want violence, they don't want the protest, the family has already collected by way of crowdfunding probably more than $8 million already just in crowdfunding. We're not even talking about a civil lawsuit yet. So that's another difference, things that are changing a little bit, but the parents have already received $8 million through crowdfunding. And it's been maybe a week, a little more than a week and a half, maybe almost since the death went down.
it's one thing, if you notice, like, even the Trayvon Martin situation, because the media and how Sharpton got to it, she was quiet, and that was the biggest thing that took the fire out of the community. So even with Black Lives Matter, like all over there.
Y'all see how that works? Something goes down, the community reacts as it should, you know? And the next thing you know, boom, the family is immediately out there forgiving the killer. The family is immediately out there forgiving the killer. Or later on, the family would move away in an interest in seeking some money, which is in their own rights to do so. It sort of takes away from the fire and the bite of the movement when the people who are most known as victim survivors of this death of Mike Brown sort of turn around. They might take the money and be like, all right, peace, I'm done. And yes, there are some people who go even further to say these things are staged, that these people are just acting and that they're getting their money and rolling out. You can go down that route if you want to, whatever. We're just dealing with the evidence of what could possibly be. And unfortunately, much that we cannot exclude from the realm of possibilities. When the money gets involved and the bite and the passion and the meaning and the purpose of the fight fizzles away, it's literally like our community suffers from serious blue balls, social justice blue balls, because there's such a thing where we got these erections, these moments of erection, right? Surrection, erection, insurrection, maybe erection, when we're sort of standing up, erect. We got these moments here and there, but next thing you know, it turns flaccid. Next thing you know, there's no orgasm. Next thing you know, there's no satisfaction guaranteed, and there's definitely no second round. Blue balls, social justice blue balls.
Well, she was mad at the Kings, but you realize this is what the Al Sharptons and the Jesse Jacksons are, in fact, being to go. They said, they come across the country again. Pretty much.
Maybe we're getting into some more intelligence, right? Intelligence when we're dealing with something people may call war. Intelligence, knowing that there are all types of people that you may think are your friends that are going to be sent in, to possibly quote unquote help you, right? Through every single moment. Mike Brown, George Floyd the landlord, whoever else, Sean Bell, Al Sharpton pops up. The parents disappear. The community, dissipates and fades, and nothing is satisfied, and everybody is still what? Tired. That's why people are so tired. You're spent. You're tired. It hurts. You're frustrated. It's like social justice constipation. Social justice blue balls. Getting teased.
I'm gonna go back to this in a little bit. Let me see, cause I think he just finished his he finished his live. Yeah. Yeah, he said a whole lot in that. Yeah. One of the things I wanted to something else I wanted to show y'all too. Man, I've been coming across some stuff here. It's all gonna make sense here. So much fake news going around. So much going around. Yeah, this story too. More on Floyd. More on Floyd. Aunt Gloria. Aunt Gloria. Another thing I want to share too. Aunt Gloria hashtagging on Twitter. Aunt Gloria. We don't need another blackface owned by the establishment. There's so much that I could put together. Hold on. This one right here. Here it is. This is George Soros. Yeah, Snopes is trying to say George Soros never said anything about manipulating, never said anything about bringing down the United States by funding black hate groups. Yes, BLM has been known as a black hate group, but yet Antifa doesn't have members of their group. Well, they're not officially a group per se because they're not listed as a hate group, much less an organization. But yeah, this is what the article says here. Although this image indicated that the business magnate and political activist issued this comment during the course of an interview with the German newspaper Bild in September 2014, we found no evidence that any such interview took place. The putative statement for Soros about his funding black hate groups does not appear in the newspaper archives for September 2014 or any other month, nor did we find reference to it in any other credible publication. The first iteration of this quote we can uncover appeared on the Tumblr page Overpasses for America in an article published August 19, 2016, nearly 2 years after Soros allegedly used these inflammatory remarks. Aside from the suspicious lack of documentation for this alleged Soros quote, it's highly unlikely that the billionaire would be so open and candid about a plan to fund black hate groups, manipulate the black community, and bring the United States in a newspaper interview. It also makes little sense for Soros, one of the world's richest people and most successful capitalists, to be motivated to dismantle the nation that is home to the planet's largest economy. Fake quotes are frequently accompanied by false source information in order to make them appear legitimate. This tactic has also been used for viral quotes ostensibly uttered by presidential candidates Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. For example, Trump was accused of saying that Republicans were the dumbest group of voters during an interview with People, and Clinton was accused of saying the same of Democratic voters in a 2005 book. Yet neither Clinton nor Trump made such comments. This is bullshit. And the person who written it, Dan Evon, is a lying-ass motherfucker. Yeah, this is some lying-ass bullshit right here. This is a lying-ass bullshit. But we can see through all the lies and bullshit right here in this little bullshit-ass, lying-ass article. Let me do something real quick. Because there might be... Exactly. Thank you. Let me check something out here. Because, there might be something to this. Yeah, there might be something to this. Well, I declare, look at this shit. Look at this shit here. Dan Evon, the writer of the article, has a gematria of 33. Ain't that some shit? Masonry has a gematria of 33. See what's going on? See what's happening? Black Lives 33, 66. Interesting. Interesting. But Black Lives doesn't matter. 33. Wow. That is wild. That is wild. That is so wild. I just did gematria on the guy's name at 33, like, popped right on up. Dan Evon. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? Yup. Tell you, they are telling lies about themselves. Yep. Of course, it's all up in our minds. Absolutely. Yep. More BS. And some of it is by the numbers. But yeah, you're going to see a lot of 33s. 33 is the common Masonic number. This whole thing is BS all the way. All the way. Let me get rid of this one. Instead, a lot has to do with DNA. Yup. Yep. So yeah. Plenty of news. More fake news stories. Here's another one. CNN. And I probably might do more of this in the next video. See what I'm saying? 43, another common number being used. And check this out. 43, when I put George Floyd's name in there, it also has a gematria of 43. Check that out. So they put on another 9/11 on us with this George Floyd situation. You see what I'm saying? More fake news. And it definitely indeed goes by the numbers too. Which I'm going to do more of that in another video. But yeah, this is just the introduction. You know what I'm saying? Very slick how they do this. Very, very slick how they do this. Yep. Absolutely. So but this is yeah. I'm gonna go back to this YouTube video. But yeah, this is pretty much plenty of fake news to go around. They give us plenty of it daily. As a matter of fact, let's see if I can get on my because I share some stories on my Facebook too. Oh man, I got some more to show y'all too. I ain't even done yet on my profile here. I think it's that's I don't know if it's that's I don't know if it's that story. I don't know if it's something I was supposed to share. Hold on. This is more to Floyd. But this is all fake news too. This is another part of fake news here. You know? Shoot. I think the counterfeit 20 was a cover up anyway. More fake news. This whole thread probably fake. This whole thread is fake news. All of it. Look at this shit. Oh, so check this out. He was in they're trying to say that Chauvin recognized Floyd as being in overdose delirium and called for medical assistance. Then 3 officers restrained him until medical assistance arrived. Really? Medical assistants were all wearing bulletproof vests and guns. No resuscitation attempted. You know, this shit don't even sound right. As a note, the owner of El Nuevo Rodeo also owns the radio station La Raza. All shady. She apparently owns a funeral home on 199 Plato Boulevard. I hear she is just a front from some foreign Arab entity. And this goes all the way up to Ilhan Omar. Ilhan Omar's second highest donor, Bassem Omar Sabri, is a convicted felon who regularly raises funds for Hamas. Bassem's nephew, Omar, Palomar Investments owns El Nuevo Rodeo, where Officer and Floyd both worked. It's looking more and more like both a money laundering and human trafficking operation. That's something. Yeah. There's something crazy going on with this Floyd thing. Oh yeah. It's definitely something wild is in the midst that is working. Yes, indeed. Something is brewing. More fake news. Yeah, all of George Floyd's murderers have been charged. Here's their mugshots. Derek Chauvin does not look like Derek Chauvin. These people probably ain't even police officers to begin with. So, More fake news. I guess we're all supposed to be scared now. Look at here. Well. Here's the question. What you mean by fake news? Because I posted saying that George Floyd is nothing but a crisis actor under Brandon Tatum's comment. What you mean? See what I'm saying? People are really thinking that this guy George Floyd is real, and he's not. I'm going to lose a lot of ADOS friends over this, so if I could prove that George Soros funded ADOS too, then I won't be rocking that hashtag any longer. See what I'm saying? I don't have no time to be dealing with folks if they can't see the forest from the trees. You know? But yeah. It's time to all get out of the matrix. That's what I'm going to be doing. But it looks like I'm going to have to leave a lot of people behind, though. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to be doing some shit that is going to be totally off the wall. And motherfuckers ain't going to know what hit them. But yeah, but this is really all I wanted to present. Just to give you a little snapshot as to what I'm going to be talking about next in another video. Other than that, share this around. Appreciate the love. Appreciate everybody hitting the like button. And I'll definitely be seeing y'all in the next video. Peace.